Hi there, I'm Professor E. Welcome to the Robot Program. In this episode, I'm going to review the contents of the Revolution Roli Kit. Let's take a look inside the box. The first thing we see at the top here is the Getting Started guide. So this guide shows you how to access our social media links, how to get started downloading the software, and even how to connect to the EZB, which we'll go over when we actually build the robot. We've got some stickers, in case you want to decorate your robot, or maybe your books, whatever you want to decorate with our Easy Robot logo. So now in our first layer, we've got all these smaller pieces around one big piece. I'm going to start with this one here, with the pins coming out of it. This is the EZB V4. This is like the robot's brain. So this is where we're going to make all the connections when we actually build Roli. Okay, now in here, this is our box of adapters. So depending on what country you live in, you can choose the adapter for plugging in your battery charger. And this is going to be really important. We always want to keep a freshly charged robot. So we've got our adapter, our transformer, whatever you might need in here. All right, right here now, we've got our camera. This is what Roli's going to use to see. So we can think of this kind of like his little head, but this is actually the camera right here, and it connects using this longer cable. Next up, we have these two matching pieces that kind of look like little claws. And these are what we call robot grippers. So robots don't have hands, they have grippers. In this case, Roli has two that we can use to pick things up with. Lastly, in this layer of foam, we have a servo. Servos are a special type of motors that allow us to control how much it rotates. So in this case, we can move 180 degrees in either direction. These are lever servos, which means we have this bracket that's allowing us to control the movement back and forth. All right, I'm going to take off my first layer of foam here and just put it beside. And I think I can also take off my second layer here. Now I've gotten down far enough that I can pull out my battery charger. This is a special type of charger that we use to charge our robots, make sure they always have a nice full battery. And you can learn more about how to use your adapters and how to charge your robots in episode 5. Now I can take off this layer of foam and I can finally reach my Rover Body. Oh, getting lots of foam out there. Okay, I can take out this layer too. Roli is a rover-style robot, just like the Mars rover or other planetary robots that we see. That means he uses these treads right here to get over obstacles and to move on different types of terrain. In our robot body, we also have our robot tray or cup holder. So Roli can use this to hold different samples or different things that he picks up and carry it to your next location. All right, so put my main body over here. Just a few more pieces to go. So in the bottom here, we have more servos. And we have two different types of servos. So I talked about a lever servo, which has the bracket on it. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lever servos. And I have one more type of servo, and that is a rotation servo. So this works the same way as the lever servos. We still control 180 degrees of motion, but you notice that we have a different pivot point. So instead of having the bracket, we can control these servos in a little bit of a different orientation. And I've got 1, 2, 3 rotation servos. And last but not least, this is my favorite part. Out of all our robot kits, these are our wire wraps. If I open this bag, I have these spirally plastic things here, and we actually use these to make sure we have nice, tidy connections on our robot. We don't want Roli rolling over any of his connections to the EZB or connections to his grippers, so we can use these to contain our wires. All right, so I'm going to put my wire wraps over here. And that's it. We've got our last layer of foam. And those are all the contents of our Revolution Roli box. In this episode, we reviewed the contents of the Revolution Roli kit. Roli is a rover-style robot, which means he uses treads rather than wheels or feet to move. This is very similar to a planetary-style robot or a robot that we would see exploring something like Mars. That's because rover robots use these treads to get over difficult terrain. So Roli has two different sets of treads. Roli also has a cup holder that can be used to carry different objects. There are two different types of servos in the Revolution Roli kit: rotation servos and lever servos. Servos are a special type of motor where we can control the position and how much it moves. In this case, we can move these two types of servos 180 degrees. The rotation servos have a single pivot point, while the lever servos are in a bracket. We have 5 lever servos and 3 rotation servos that make up the servos needed to build Roli. The brain of the robot is called the robot controller. In this case, we're using the EasyBee V4 robot controller. This is where we make all the connections to the robot to make it move, take different positions, and to process information. An example of information would be visual information, and we can take in visual input using the camera right here. We also have fun stickers that you can put on your robot, and the Getting Started guide, which has all the important information for getting started with your Roli robot. It's always important to keep your robot fully charged, and to do so, you can use our robot battery charger, as well as the adapters for your particular country or location. Last but not least, we have my favorite part, our wire wraps, which are used to keep nice, neat connections when we connect to our EasyBee robot controller. Thanks for watching this episode, and we'll see you next time.
What type of robot is Roli? What is a servo? What do robots use to hold items instead of hands? Find the answers at therobotprogram.com.